What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Extra Yard. We have actual football to talk about now for the first time in too damn long, and it feels fantastic. You've got Kai, whatever. Juan, even less important. We are joined, of course, by Alfredo. Alfredo, thank you so much for being here. You make this show, bro.
Facts.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, we've got a lot to get to today. We do have to open it up even before we get to training camp with probably the biggest storyline to come out of the Dolphins camp in a month, right? Which has been the recurring storyline.
Michael Pilardi, is that what?
Yeah, absolutely. No. I was going to talk about punt returning and who that's going to be, right? Who was going to be first or not. But we got to talk about Xavien Howard. Now, Kai, you were on yesterday. If you want to see that video, Kai and Alfredo were able to give some of their thoughts here on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. If you look on our page, you should be able to find that. But Juan, I'll let you go first since you weren't on that yesterday. Your thoughts on the whole get me the F out of here.
So it took me a while to kind of process more or less how it went down, because for me it's like you could have gone about it one way, which is probably just trying to keep it indoors. And it feels like almost like his team kind of pushed for this to come out in the way that it came out. And I'll be honest, at first I was more Team X than ever before, because I was like, damn, he doesn't sound unreasonable. He sounds like he's just asking for one or two things. That's not crazy. But then I went further into that actual, I think, what was it, like an Instagram post that he put up? Mm-hmm. And then a couple things kind of stood out, right? Well, I'll say first, the fact that he didn't completely understand or feel comfortable with signing his contract, right? I kind of broke it down a little bit this morning, where I feel like the only way that makes sense is if you're saying I didn't understand how quickly it would get priced up. Like I like he didn't understand that, Jalen was coming up, Byron Jones was coming up, other cornerbacks were coming up. And maybe he didn't understand that part of, hey, the market's going to set itself whether you're the first or not. And usually if you're the first, you're probably going to end up taking the L. I don't know if that was a miscommunication between him and his old agent, or maybe it's more of a pressing matter with him and his new agent, to where it feels like there's a disconnect there, right, for me. Then he talks about he's one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. He talks about the tape doesn't lie. The assignments that they give him, where he goes against the opposition's number one receiver, even though week 2 versus the Bills, it was Byron Jones dealing with Diggs and then Noah dealing with Diggs. And then this one kind of probably irked me the most, and it took me a while to really put to words what I felt was you don't talk about other people's pockets. You don't talk about another player's pockets, or if you do, you let your agent say that stuff to the team. You let the agent say, hey, my guy is not the second best corner on this team, if that's what he feels like. And when you sit there and you come out and you say, yeah, I'm the second highest paid cornerback on my own team, and it's not even close. That to me is kind of like a backhanded compliment towards himself. Because think about it, like, how does Byron Jones at this point kind of take that? Like, okay, more or less we dealt with a year of this, and I thought we were cool, but it turns out you're really kind of salty about the contract, to where, my guy, it's not even my fault, bro. Like, you signed your deal way before mine. I took the risk, and this I'll give credit to Alf. He kind of gave me this point of view is Byron Jones took the risk of getting hurt and not getting a big deal. He took that chance on himself of saying, I'm going to play out this contract without signing a new one. He hit free agency, and what do? He break the bank. If you're holding that against him, it seems kind of petty to me. It seems very petty to me. And then it's also more of this is why I don't feel the organization has dealt with me in good faith. I don't feel valued or respected by the Dolphins. Just like they can take a business first approach, so can I. What does that even mean? Because, I mean, if we're really talking about they didn't deal with you in good faith, are you saying you were bamboozled or hoodwinked or whatever adjective you want to describe, to say I didn't understand the deal? Like they did this. Dolphins just gave him a blank piece of paper with a number at the end and said sign this, and then later he found out what it really was that he signed. Like there's just a lot of disconnect there for me where I'm getting childish vibes from it. Where like, yeah, cool, you want your money, I get it. We're gonna go and we're gonna fight for your money, but then that post kind of made me sour a little bit on X in the attitude. I will say, and I will give him credit from everything I've heard and everything I've read. He was the consummate pro. He went out there and practiced to the best of his ability. I don't think anybody saw him or could say that he was, skirting practice or trying to avoid things.
He didn't come out in one jersey and then change it in the middle of it and then walk off the field.
Michael,
I was just asking.
Mike, I mean, he also didn't stand in cover 2 with his hands behind his hands behind his back, like DW decided to do. But I mean, it just kind of sucks to have to be that the storyline of.
By the way, just not to interrupt you, but he also dapped up Byron Jones noticeably. On the sidelines.
Was it in front of all the media as well?
Oh yeah, like I think he made sure like to show like yo, I wasn't messing with your money. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Like you could tell.
And then he ultimately, I guess this is the official request. Like I want out. I want to be traded. I will not. I think Michael, you're on this boat too. I put a like a little poll together, whether it was, what you would potentially think is fair compensation, whether it's a second in Hunt, third in Chandler, fourth in Eric McCoy, whatever it was. And then I also put a Jalen Ramsey type deal. And I think that's ultimately the direction the Dolphins will go, where if, hey, someone wants to give me that King's ransom, sure, go ahead, take them.
Thank you for catching that name, because I didn't explain that to you.
Yeah. But if they don't want to, offer that, and it seems like we're more or less getting kind of like lowball offers, 60 cents on the dollar, like Alfredo likes to say. I don't see the Dolphins budging.
I'm gonna let Kaya and Alfredo kind of re-sum up their stuff in case somebody watches this video and didn't want to go back to the owner or whatever it is. For me, it's a lot of different things. I think this contract situation ended up best case scenario and worst case scenario for X. And I mean that by best case scenario for him is he did, in my opinion, outplay the deal. Right? I will say that he went out there, he led this team in interceptions. He led this entire defense. And without him, I don't think they're anywhere near as high as they were. And then you have the fact that the deal that the Dolphins gave him was one worried about injury, was one worried about something resurfacing. Yep. And he's been fine. He had that 1 year. He got hurt Brian Flores' first year, correct? Didn't he get hurt like near the end of the season?
He played 5 games. Yeah, Brian Flores' first year.
He played 5 games. He got hurt. But it was one of those seasons where it was one of those seasons that we all knew it's like, okay, we probably don't really need him to play this season too much because that's not going to make a difference in what the Dolphins were doing, right? We all knew the plan. And so you go on to this next season, they're finally supposed to compete. They do, and it's led by X, completely by X. So I understand his point. We've said that here all along. I agree with you. I don't like that he called out Byron Jones. I feel like they've probably talked about it, and I agree he shouldn't be the second highest paid corner on this team. If you're looking at value on player, it should go Xavien Howard first and then everybody else somewhere behind, anywhere behind. But at this point, it feels like one of those things that it's, unless the Dolphins get the deal that they feel they deserve, I feel no reason to trade him, especially when you're dealing with somebody, and I respect him for this, who's being as professional as he is and has come into practice, is most likely going to go to the games, is going to play hard in the games, because at the end of the day, he knows.
Mike Tyson back and
yep. At the end of the day, he knows if he doesn't go out there and play, if he's not professional, if he doesn't try to do his best, no one's going to trade for him. Mm-hmm. And then the Dolphins will cut him. He's going to get an even worse contract. And so at this point, it sucks to say it, the Dolphins have so much leverage. For me, unless it's a King's ransom or some player that I think, man, you get that player to the moon with this team, I'm chilling on not trading him. I think the Dolphins are in a pretty good spot. But Alfredo, I don't know what you think.
No, I agree. He has no leverage whatsoever. A lot of people are saying, oh, well, his leverage is that he could just pout and just essentially, be a jerk about it and just complain 24/7. You can't do that. If you read the CBA, and I was reading it last night, okay, because I wanted to make sure I get my ducks in a row, he can't even do that because he could get fined games as conduct detrimental. And if he doesn't accrue enough games, he loses a year.
Yep. I think it's 5, right? That he can't miss.
Yeah, he can't miss 5 games pouting. So I'm completely with you. Like I'll give you a little bit of background on this. When they traded Laremy Tunsil, Chris Greer was telling anybody who would listen, like, absolutely not. I'm not trading Laremy Tunsil because Laremy Tunsil is one of the pillars of how we're going to build this team. He's one of the guys, right? And he had told a couple of people, if somebody wants to give me something completely ridiculous, I would.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember tweeting out on my Twitter account, I said, look, if somebody gives the Dolphins 2 first-round picks, a second-round pick, and maybe a player, they'll trade Laremy Tunsil. And I had a bunch of Houston Texans fans in my mentions calling me, asking me if I was smoking crack, if I was insane. Sure enough, that's exactly what they got. Why? Because somebody actually blew them away. I think this is the same situation. I think you sit tight. You do not panic trade, okay? Because that's how you become a mark, man, in this league. People start looking at you and saying,
you get punched.
That's, for lack of a better word, that's the dipshit organization that will sell off players as soon as they cause a problem.
Yep.
So you hold tight unless somebody wants to blow you away with an offer. And you said a couple of guys right there. The one that's really, really intriguing, but I don't see how the hell they give us that guy. Because to be honest with you, he's better than Xavien Howard, and that's Eric McCoy of New Orleans. Like, if you get Eric McCoy, you're probably getting the best center in football.
Yeah.
Like, what would you rather have? The best center in football or the 5th best corner in football? I don't know. The best center in football sounds nice, right?
Especially when you have a gap at center and you've got corners that you feel confident in. Because if you don't feel confident in the 10 cornerbacks that you have, I mean, whoa.
Yeah, so you're replacing a guy who's an all-pro and who's going to be an all-pro for like maybe the next 2 to 3 years in X with a guy who's going to be an all-pro for the next 10 years.
Yep.
So, that's a deal where, like, if New Orleans says, look, Eric McCoy for Xavien Howard straight up, I'm like, yeah, let's do that.
Well, and I mean? Listen, I'm gonna tell you, there was a Twitter account that I was following, and I think they have a podcast too, and they were talking about there's no way X misses camp because of the money situation, right? There's no shot, and it was like, no, they're absolutely missing camp, right? Yeah. You guys said this weeks ago.
Months.
And everyone was like months ago. And it was, oh no, he'll find a way to miss camp. He wants a deal.
No, I was 100% about player empowerment and how the NFL was turning and changing. And Alfredo months ago was just like, I don't know, buddy. Wait till camp starts. You're gonna see all these bluffs being called.
I'm all for player empowerment, but you gotta call a spade. And when your problem with the situation is the money in your deal, you're gonna go to practice and earn the money from your deal.
Let's face it, when Aaron Rodgers, is not even gonna fade to him, it was gonna be about $1 million. For X, it was gonna be $750,000 to blow off camp. When Aaron Rodgers said, you know what, I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna go collect my money. You know what I mean?
Imagine Aaron Rodgers won by taking a year off his deal. So like all the shit that I was saying about player empowerment is just out the window.
That was saving face. That was Aaron Rodgers going into the conference room with the Green Bay Packers and said, look, man, I can't come out of this looking like a total clown, all right? Give me something. How about 1 year off of your contract? Okay, I'll take it. You know what I mean? It was embarrassing, really.
My thing.
Oh, and Randall Cobb. Don't forget. He gets Randall Cobb. Don't forget.
Yes.
And no one goes to Green Bay to vacation, by the way. They come to go play with Aaron Rodgers. His words, not mine.
You want to know why Aaron Rodgers went back? Because of Royal.
Oh, yeah.
Royal called the organization and said, guys, listen, I'm not ready to fully transition to the Dolphins yet. Okay, you gotta
that
help
would have been
me
the day
out.
we bring him in and he's just full on Tua gear.
Absolutely. So, Kai, I mean, you talked a bunch about it yesterday. Did you have anything you wanted to put a bow on that X stuff?
I guess after having almost 24 hours to think about it, I do want to say I stand by everything I said in that hour video yesterday. Every single word of it, I stand by.
Including when you said that I'm the best host you've ever worked with?
After the 24 hours, that's what you confirmed it to yourself?
Yes, I've confirmed to myself I stand by everything. The second thing is that, look, I think to just restate it, and maybe it comes off harsh, but again, I feel like every single time I state something about Xavien Howard, and especially for anyone that watches the show knows, like I say, I'm always like, look, go back to the tweets. You can find my tweets all the way back to 2016. They're there. Like, I love X. At the same time, and I think a lot of Dolphins fans are the same way. It's like, love Xavien Howard, loves what he brings to the team, loves him as a player. I think we all sit back and agree. It's like, one, that statement was horrendous. It's one of the worst statements a player has ever released. Like, that was awful. What he was trying to accomplish with that, with him and David Cantor, whoever was by his side, whoever helped him write that statement, did not think that through at all. Because
there's a really
so
good
the Dolphins.
There was a really good tweet, and I can't find it, but the guy had it. He said that the statement read like the kind of statement that a politician puts out that loses a lot of elections.
It was very poor. Like it was clearly. I mean, I'm 23 years old. When did journalism for a couple of years? I could write a better statement than that. Like that was just ridiculous to even think that a professional had released that. And I think again, like it just, I feel like it gave so much more to the Dolphins from an aspect of like, okay, you just publicly requested a trade. You threw one of your own teammates under the bus and counted his pockets, something that a lot of NFL players have talked about. And I know Juan mentioned it as well. It's one of the things you don't do. You don't count other players' pockets, especially not out in public. It's always like, oh, you're rooting for that player. Go get that money. Go do this. Go do that. You do that. So you're already saying it's for family. I love my teammates, blah, blah, blah. I didn't understand the deal that I signed. So then you're making yourself seem to the rest of the NFL like you're an idiot. And then you also threw your teammate under the bus. Like, that's just, I feel like
you just literally took 3 swings and you struck out, bro. Like,
yeah, like he just
like, here are the 3 reasons why I believe I deserve more money. This first reason, nope, false. Moving to the next one. Second reason, false. Try again. Third reason, bro, you struck out.
Yeah, and on our podcast that we just dropped right now, Chris Kaufman actually broke down the contract, and he said this is not like Ricky Williams' contract that he had Master P negotiate. This is a contract negotiated by Demarius Bilbo, who is now with Clutch Sports. He's a highly respected agent. Okay, was he tight with the Dolphins for Jarvis Landry? Yeah. Guess what? He got Jarvis Landry $75 million from the Cleveland Browns. Okay, so he did his job. All right. Now, was he tough in Miami? Yeah, sure. Okay, that's his job. All right. This deal is as simple as you can have an NFL deal be done. Mm-hmm. There's nothing complicated about this. This is X trying to pass the buck, okay, to the guy that he fired in March. Yep.
And I think just my last thought on it real quick. I think what X ultimately kind of needed in his corner is not all the yes men that players tend to have, but somebody who could look him in the eye and be like, yo, bro, you signed this now before Jalen, before Byron, before all these other corners. I think Marcus Peters was up too. If you sign this before these guys, just know you're going to be trying to get money in 2 years, 3 years, because those contracts are going to be based off you. It's not going to be the other way around. You're going to be dictating the market, and they're going to be based off of you, and they're going to probably most likely be more, especially with the cap rising every year. Obviously, no one expected COVID to happen. Things like that don't really get planned for. But if somebody had been like, yo, X, these are the consequences from signing this so early, you're going to potentially be bitten in the butt in a year or two. Understand that? Or if, hey, X, I really don't think you're signing that deal is a good move for you, bro, because of, look, I know your knees are shot. I know you want that financial security. But if you wait another year, maybe wait another year and a half, you can put real pressure and you can get a real deal that you'll be solid in. But I mean, if nobody cared enough to try to break that down to him, and especially his agent, because his agent, remember, he gets paid off that deal. So he's trying to do his best to make him happy while also realizing you signed this deal, I'm making bank. So if there's not anybody there who's really kind of in X's corner, it's hard for me to say, hey, he really didn't know, because I don't think anybody really broke it down the way we have.
Yeah, and I'll wrap up the X talk with this last question. We'll go around table and I'll start with you, Kai. If Byron Jones doesn't sign with the Miami Dolphins,
good question.
Are we still having this conversation right now the way we're having it, Kai?
I said it last night, and I'll say it again. I'll repeat myself. I think that you probably are still having the same conversation, especially after the year he had. And again, I think it is whether it was us, the Raiders, or the Eagles. And I believe like right before that contract was signed, I don't remember because I took a nap and woke up and all of a sudden this dude was on our team. It was very random out of the blue. I think we all never really thought that like, but no one ever said Byron Jones Dolphins. And something I repeated last night was I think everyone, the thought process was if Joe Tooney,
Alfredo and
I'm just saying you get what I'm saying, general aspect,
up.
right? Not everyone was saying that this was something that was going to for sure happen, or that they, you know, that they were going to be big players. It felt like everyone was kind of thinking it's going to be Joe Tooney at that time. Like they're going to go after a guard if he gets out of, you know, free agency, if he gets towards free agency. And then, of course, Byron Jones is the one that signed. Byron Jones could go out and make that money, whether it's with the Eagles or the Raiders or us. And Xavien Howard, if he has that year, let's say it plays out, he has the year he had this year, coming off of an injury-riddled season that he had the year before, where he comes back in a game against the Steelers and then gets injured in that same game and is out for the rest of the season, he's still going to be asking for more money. I don't think it has anything to do. I think he threw Byron Jones under the bus, but I don't think a majority of it has to do with the fact that it's Byron Jones. I think he definitely feels slighted about it, but I don't think that Byron Jones is the sole reason. And one last thing I want to add about the Byron Jones thing that I forgot to add in my initial little thing is that I think a lot of people are also living way too in the moment and forgetting that Byron Jones is not some slouch, because that's what everyone else is making it out to be, and seeming as if Byron Jones is just some horrible cornerback that just got overpaid. Whether you want to say overpaid, right contract, whatever it is, he's not just some slouch. He's not just some average Joe corner. And I think that's being lost in translation with all of this.
Okay. Juan, Byron Jones isn't signed by the Dolphins. Are we still here?
I don't even know, because like obviously he brought it up and mentioned it in his little post or whatever, but I don't know if let's say Byron signs that same deal even with, like, let's say Dallas, I feel like we're kind of still here. Okay. I mean, in my opinion, X signed the deal he did in, what was it, 2018? He had, I believe, 7 interceptions.
Yeah, I think it was 9.
So 2019. So after he had 7 interceptions in 12 games, he didn't finish that year. He played the next season, what would you say, 5 games?
Yeah, it was 5 games.
So I mean, he knew what he was doing. Like he knew that, you know, you take the money up front that they're offering you because you don't know how your needs are going to handle. The Dolphins prepped themselves for this exact scenario by drafting a first-round cornerback, by signing a high-priced free agent and a cornerback. And it kind of, you know, you could, like, I guess you could describe it as it blew up in everybody's face. And, you know, there's kind of different points of view about that, because for the Dolphins, it blew up in their face, both good and bad. Because good, hey, you got a 10 interception season out of Xavien.
Bad, he wants 10 interception money.
Exactly. And bad that he wants 10 interception money. And that you necessarily are saying, well, we're kind of prepped to not have you here. So do we really need you here? And then that's when it kind of gets to that point of maybe this was always just destined to be. Like it just feels like X and the knee situation and everything like that was always going to be, okay, pay me. Okay, I'm paid. Oh, but I'm still playing good. Pay me again. And it's like, it doesn't really work like that, you know?
Yeah. Alfredo?
Yeah, it would have happened anyway, because the 10 interceptions happened. And this is something that happens in sports all the time. The only thing that X is doing it after, and I know that I sound like a broken record, but after his contract has matured 1 year of 5 years. That is highly unlikely and unusual, all right, in any sport, okay? It just doesn't happen, all right? Not even in the NBA. In the NBA, where it's all player empowerment, guys don't force themselves out after they sign a deal.
Not according to Brandon Marshall.
Year. Well, Brandon Marshall is wrong.
Michael.
You know, like, I don't remember, like, if somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but who signed a max deal and then a year later is talking about trade me? No, I've never seen that.
Tyler Johnson for the Heat, maybe? I'm just kidding.
I have no idea. I don't think so.
I know, like, it wasn't max.
You know, it kind of reminded me of, like, you know, we got a sponsor one time and it was right before the draft and they paid us. And then we got a monster download number for one of the draft shows. What should I have done? Call the sponsor back and say, I know you paid me this much, but send me now another check for this much.
Hey, I did more downloads than I told you I was going to. So
because I just got a ton of downloads, so now pay me more money. Like, what would happen? They would hang the phone up on my face.
I will agree with that point, but I'll play devil's advocate here. In that scenario, you've signed the contract. You're good to go. You're going to make that money. you're saying, oh, how ridiculous does it sound if you had called back and said, hey, I just got a bunch of these downloads after the draft, pay me more. However, the one place where I will argue on the side of the players is that, person can't come back to you and say, hey, you did 1,000 less downloads than we talked about, so I'm going to pay you less. Right. Because it's in the contract. So that's my one difference, because in the NFL, it's like, hey, you didn't perform the way we wanted. You're gone. You got nothing. So that's my one place where I'm a little bit different. I see your point, but that's the one place where I'm going to play devil's advocate a bit.
Yeah, I think it was going to happen anyway, regardless. He had a big year, and if he played 16 games, he was going to have a big year. He's a ball hawk, and he gets around the football, and he's really, really good in coverage, especially in trail and on the boundary. He's going to be good. But back to the Byron Jones and point, and Kai kind of touched on it, and he touched on it yesterday. I remember way back in 2019, 2020, which is like 5,000 years ago, right? At this point, a lot of people thought that Byron Jones was better than Xavien Howard. And when I say a lot of people, I'm talking about the vast majority. There's a reason he was the number one free agent that year, that offseason. Everybody was saying, nah, this guy plays in the slot. Xavien Howard, he's great. Xavien Howard is horrific in the slot. That's why he never plays the slot. If he was, and that's another thing, that's a lie that he travels all over the field. No, he doesn't. Because guys that travel are like Byron Jones that played in the slot.
Yeah.
Okay. If you travel, when they put Julio Jones in the slot, guess who's in the slot? Xavien Howard, right? We don't do that. Okay, with Xavien Howard. He plays on the boundary almost exclusively. All right. Byron Jones plays in the slot, played at free safety. A lot of people, and when I say a lot of people, again, it's the vast majority of people. When he was signed, everybody said X is injury prone, and all he does is get interceptions. Byron Jones does everything. He's a better corner. Then, of course, the guy gets 10 interceptions, and everybody forgets what they said, 12 months earlier.
And let's get Byron props. He had a career year too. He had 2 interceptions before coming here to the league, and he had 2 this year too.
Well, hold on.
Although his numbers are not career year. I think his career year was in 2018.
I'm talking about for the standard fans who only track interceptions.
For the standard fans, yeah. As far as career year, man, I think it was 2018 or 2017 where Byron Jones was low key the defensive player of the year. It was that year that the Cowboys went 12-4. He was a spectacular corner. Like, nobody threw on him. He shut down Michael Thomas when Michael Thomas was averaging 11 catches a game. He allowed, I think, 1 or 2 catches on a Monday Night Football game.
Should we debate Michael Thomas and Devontae Parker now? I feel like that would be a great transition.
We're going to debate 2 people who aren't practicing.
Yeah,
I think Michael Thomas would love that debate.
Yeah, I'm just gonna call them pups right now, just because
it is ridiculous. Like I again, and I'm glad that Alf brought up there, like, and kind of how I mentioned, like, it really is ridiculous how people really like forget. Like it's really not like Byron Jones is some slump, and then they just think they're looking at it like, oh, Byron Jones is horrible. They're forgetting the fact, and I'm not trying to be. There are people out there yesterday that were trying to say, oh, Dolphin fans are gonna turn. It's like, no, some of us, there are gonna be some that turn, there are gonna be some that stay. And there are going to be some that are kind of realistic. They're going to say, Xavien Howard's a great corner. Xavien Howard's a ball hawk. He gets interceptions. He did 7 interceptions, had a year where he barely played. The next year he plays, has 10 interceptions. That it's not, no one can deny it. But they're also going to tell you at the same time, Xavien Howard has an injury history. Xavien Howard got paid with a bad injury history. It's like I feel like
and he got his 10 interceptions. He got his 10 interceptions in a defense that is perfectly tailored for his ball hawking skills, and where he has another cornerback on the other side of the field from him who has enough skill to cover wherever that he can make those judgment calls and say, I'm gonna risk it. So I don't think he gets the 10 if Byron's not there.
And just so to add to that,
my thing, Byron's contract was part of it, but if Byron's not there, I'm not sure he gets 10. If he doesn't get 10,
I think it's
probably
more
can't be
of
as loud. Like,
I think it's more of Flores' scheme though, because how many? I don't know off the top of my head, but I feel like there must have been at least 3 or 4 where on 3rd and longs you see them going cover 0, you see them Byron isolated, you see X isolated, and you see the quarterback having to deal with 8 pass rushers to where they're kind of just lobbing it up and saying, "Somebody find it, somebody go get it," and Xavien, let's just be real. He's elite at that. He's elite at, it's genuinely a 50-50 ball, and not in just the words and in literal sense.
Sometimes he runs the route better than the receiver does, which is the most frustrating thing when I play Madden. Like, listen, my guy running a slant should not be outrun on that slant by the cornerback. I'm sorry, just don't.
Speaking of Madden, you saw Waddle speed. You see Waddle speed
97, bro. I'm excited. And Gesicki was, I think, 7th highest tight end or 6th.
Oh, I didn't see Gesicki.
I was at practice today. Waddle's a 99.
Bro, Waddle, listen, I'm very excited about him. Beautiful transition, though. I think we've wrapped up the X stuff. We'll see where it goes from here. I think all of us would guess he'll probably be traded before the start of the season, just because I think he will. I think somebody will pay.
They're going to sit on their hands and say, shut up, bro. Go play.
Yeah,
I think somebody will pay a good amount.
Dolphins are talking pretty tough. I like to see them stick to it.
Did you guys see the song that was chosen to start and finish practice?
You love this.
Go for it.
Well,
I mean, I don't know if to actually say the lyrics. Kai, can you maybe post the lyrics on here to see?
I'll bring it up.
Maybe let's make sure the lyrics are.
Let's be real, because Flores has been known with Kenny Stills to say what he feels without saying it, through a different medium.
For those that don't know what happened, Kenny Stills had some beef with Jay-Z. And then I was there that day, and I was laughing my ass off in the stands. And then Brian Flores, he controls the playlist. He opened practice with 7 consecutive Jay-Z songs. like if you're not trolling after the first song, you're definitely trolling after the second song.
Yeah.
After the 7th song, you're basically trying to force your wide receiver to walk out of practice. You know what I mean?
I mean, look at this one today. Wait till I get my money right. I had a dream I could buy my way to heaven. When I awoke, I spent that on a necklace. I told God I'd be back in a second. Man, it's so hard not to act reckless. To whom much is given, much is tested. Get arrested, guess until he get the message. I feel the pressure under more scrutiny. And what I do, act more stupidly. Twice he had to play that. To start and to finish camp.
Bro, Juan is the kind of guy that you want to have watching reality TV shows to just be catching all this subtext.
100%.
Because he's just like thriving on it, dude.
The title of the song is Can't Tell Me Nothing, by the way, by Kanye West, just to put that out there. So,
hey, listen, that's what we love about B-Flow, though. He's savage. He does what he has to do. He sticks to it, and he's not going to back down. And that's how he started and finished camp. But today was the first day where they were out on the field for training camp, if I'm right. Today was the first day that they were actually out there.
It was the first day.
Alfredo, you were there. What were your top takeaways from being out there today? What was the top things like, oh, this player looked great? This player looked terrible?
My bad, Mike. Real quick. I have to
ask
good.
No, we had it good. No. Yeah.
Can you please, and I know Mike's in his feelings right now, can you please just break down to people before you go into anything else?
Hate you.
What install means?
Oh, what does install mean?
Yeah.
Okay, it's pretty simple. It's exactly what the word means. It's install, right? So we're going to run these plays, right? So we're out there on the practice field. Every player before they go out on the practice field has a little list. And the list may have 8 run plays, may have 10 pass plays, right? And you're going to simulate game action by calling the play, having the personnel groupings go in, and making sure you run them, but you're talking out loud, so the defense is hearing everything you're calling, right? So defenses don't need install, all right? Defense, as far as having an install for the defense, that's done in OTAs and that's done in a classroom. There's no defensive installs because the fronts are called inside the huddle, and defense is a lot simpler than offense, right? But offense, you need timing, right? And people need to go in the right places, and the right option routes have to be run, and the right routes have to be run. So you're essentially trying to go as fast as you can, but you're not really going as fast as you can. And when you install something, sometimes you run it 2-3 times in a row.
Oh.
And not only do you run it 2-3 times in a row, but you're talking out loud. Look, we're going to run this thing again. You didn't get the right depth.
Oh, you don't say.
Your route. So the corners actually know where everybody is going.
So they scream out reload, even with the defense there?
Yes.
Oh.
Wait, I'm going to cut you off, Juan, right? At what point did you flip back, right? Because you've been a little flip-floppy this offseason, right? Like there was the Tua train, I'm gonna mute you. So chill, okay? You were like all on the two, and then you jumped right off, homie. Like you were like all the way over
for
here.
One person,
and you said all this stuff about the Tua stands and whatnot. Then you started jumping on Mac Jones and saying, "Hey, that offense was like."
What he said about Tua stands is true, though. Okay, let that be known.
No, I listen, but he's been like everybody else is influencing the way Juan is thinking about this team. Like Juan, what you want, bro? You want 1-4? You want Tua good? You want reload? What we doing?
I just want facts.
Oh,
I just want facts, truth,
and whatever.
And a little bit of context. If that's too much to ask for, Michael,
don't act like that.
Because here's my thing. Like I spent all day on Twitter looking at I won't say bashing of Tua, but I'll say
I feel like you need to take some time off that app, bro.
I think so too. But it's just funny because there was only one person, and I'm sitting here talking to him, who mentioned anything about install. Anything. Not a single other person who was at practice said this is install. And why I was petty enough to bring it up in that manner is because it matters. You're telling me Tua is running the same play 3-4 times in a row. My guy, the cornerback knows the play's coming. He knows you're going to run a post. He knows you're going to run a dig. He knows you're going to run a curl. He knows what's going to happen. Their job is to react off of that. But if they already know half the battle, like, what are we getting mad at Tua for? Like,
you're supposed to know, not to get on anybody, but you're supposed to know that it's install when you see that your quarterback is running an RPO. He's putting the ball in Gaskin's belly and he's throwing a bubble screen to Waddle 3 times in a row. Like, that's nobody's calling an offense calling 3 RPO bubbles in a row. It means
Mark Rick did with the Kings. I'm just making sure because he did all the time.
He actually did. I remember he did that once against Virginia Tech. Against Virginia Tech, he called
we couldn't move the ball. We couldn't move the ball. So he's like, just screen. And the thing that pissed me off is that it worked. We kept getting 6-7 yards. I'm like, guys, someone please be better than this.
So it's install, and sometimes you see that a defensive player will try to jump a route that he knows is coming. Okay,
so I gotta ask this as a fan, right? Like, is that defensive player just that desperate? He's like, nah, you know what? I know exactly what you're doing.
No, sometimes they're talking to each other and they do it. You
mean like Tannehill screaming to practice squad players, "This is your Super Bowl." Or
like I'll tell you one thing, man. Like I remember going on Twitter and everybody jumped on. Have you ever seen that meme where everybody's just screaming at you at one person, or everybody puts like a knife to your throat? Yeah, I was on Twitter and I was like, I completely understand Ryan Tannehill here, and no wonder we have such a dipshit team. This team is trying to get ready for somebody, and we have practice squad guys jumping routes while we're trying to go through a walkthrough for a game that they were playing on Saturday. You know what I mean? Like, that's just stupid, man. Like, if you're, in fact, play that thing, man, that with Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Oh, you mean stupid?
I don't know about it.
Like, can you imagine? Like, you're trying to get ready for a game, and you got practice squad guys jumping routes that you're telling them it's coming. Oh my god! And of course, Ryan Tannehill blew his stack. And of course now, like Chris Kaufman says, Brian Tannehill is now an elite quarterback and a legendary angler. I don't know if you saw the size of that grouper that he caught.
No.
You didn't see it?
I stopped following everything related to Ryan Tannehill because I'm salty about it because I believed in that dude for so long.
He's been in the news today for something. Yep.
Yeah. Some good stuff.
Yeah, he said he only got the vaccine because
the NFL was gonna make it hard for him.
But that's not what this is about. Anyways, so
what is this about?
With training camp, I guess one other question as well, Alf, as someone who's been in training camp for a long time, and this is just kind of something that I had always heard, listening to like former players talk and other things like that, but I've never had to see it live. There's also been the saying, to my knowledge at least, that the defense is always also ahead of the offense no matter what once camp starts, at least for the first week or so of it anyways, where the offense is going to be slow and the offense is still getting used to it. Do you think that I don't want to ask any specific questions on certain things, but do you think that maybe, and it has a lot to do with Tua, let's be real, like it just does. For whatever reason, it just does have to do with a lot with him, no matter what happens. I mean, he could, take a crap in the toilet, and if it isn't a solid poop, people are going to get upset. Like, I like, what do you think it is that is the reason why people are so upset? Like, not being able to put 2 and 2 together and can't just, go along with things that they need now.
Well, two things. The defense being ahead of the offense could be two things. Okay, first of all, it could be people that don't know what they're watching, and they're watching install, and they're watching things like today, where guys just jump routes and they know everything that's coming, and then they're saying, "Oh, the defense is ahead of the offense." No, the defense knows what the offense is doing, so therefore they're going to be better.
It's the fourth play in a row. What do you think they're going to react the same way as the first 3?
Well, I've heard other players talk about it before. That's why.
And the second thing is. And the second thing is that, it's camp. So it's the start of something, right? Defense is, for lack of a better phrase, it's easier to play defense than it is to play offense, especially when you start in camp. So if your defense is getting smoked, like day 2, day 3 of camp, you got problems on defense, man. Okay? Like, they should be winning, okay? I remember back in the day when our defense was absolute garbage, and we always had consistently a top 5 offense with Dan Marino. They used to do their big aqua and orange game, which is they changed it to the aqua and white game, which is just awful. Okay, by the way, they got to bring back the aqua and orange game. All right. So they used to have the big aqua and orange game, and you know how that works. If you score a touchdown, you get 4 points. If you get a field goal, you get a point. You know how that works.
Mm-hmm, right.
And the defense usually wins if they can hold the offense to under 10 points, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dan Marino used to score 12 points. And everybody used to say, what's wrong with the offense? The offense can't score. They're going to be a problem. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like, 12 points is like the equivalent of scoring 30 in a real game.
Yeah.
But all they saw was, man, Marino only threw 2 touchdown passes. Well, he's not supposed to throw any, really.
Yeah.
It's when the defense is supposed to be way ahead of the offense. But as far as the hate that Tua gets, I don't get it. I tweeted out today a thread where PFF tweeted out that throw that Marino that I almost said Marino, but the throw that Tua made 55 to 61 yards in the air and connected with Albert Wilson, but was thrown behind him and was a horrific throw, right? As far as everybody's concerned. They tweeted that out saying, I forgot what they were saying. He has the launch codes. Tua Tagovailoa has the launch codes. Look at the.
I can't. It's like it's committing. It's like trying to hit myself.
I tried to count. I only saw like 40 comments. There was 2 positive comments. 2. The rest were, look at that duck. Why would you tweet this out? It's embarrassing.
I had to go back and show Peyton Manning's ducks because, I genuinely had to go back and show 2 different clips. One, because some people will be like, "Oh, well, that was in Denver, and he had this neck problem." People okay, buddy, I got one of him in the Colts his rookie year from the 6-yard line.
Here, I'll just read the most recent ones, right? Because I just have it sorted by recent, right? Yeah. It looks like he puts his whole body into this throw. That's the comment, which.
Don't you do
isn't what quarterback should be doing on every throw, right? Like they need to put ugly max effort delivery. Again, something about max effort seems to be negative. Not really sure there. Somebody else just tweeted out a picture of a duck. Another person said that was wobbly. Launch codes to what? Winning 4 games. Oh, now this person's called Julius Sneezer. Let me see if they have a team that they like. Oh, they don't have. Oh, they're from Philadelphia. So
interesting.
Pretty sure we had more wins than they did last year, but that's cool.
I'm pretty sure that their quarterback got run out of town by our guy.
Yeah, another Alabama guy.
Yeah. I just don't understand. Underthrown.
He was Tua's first victim.
Show the one that hit the fan. Lol. Like, what are we doing?
I think again. I find it insane to me. I feel like last year. Right when Tua got drafted, it was like the savior. I mean, everyone was saying how great it was, how he's the savior. He's going to be the greatest thing ever. It's going to be, the edits of him and the Super Bowl and everything like that. And there's still people who are like that. But I just find it for someone who has not done something to give you a reason to hate him, It's just insane to me that people hate him.
I think
it's ridiculous.
I think he gave people like a backhanded way of hating him. Like I feel like the media looked at him, especially our media now, looked at him having been so hyped up for the first 3 years of his college career that when they get here and they're like, oh, but he's not 6'5", 240. And what do you mean he doesn't throw with his right hand and not a rocket?
Yeah. He doesn't look like Mac Jones. That means he's a bad quarterback.
Telling me that he's throwing with his left hand and he's only getting a 55-yarder instead of a 60-yarder.
It's a bunch of different things. Right? First of all, a lot of people were on the boat for Tua until his injury.
A lot of different teams.
Like
the entire
I'm saying like nation. No, but I'm saying different.
You guys
don't
remember the tank play with literally they drew the tank against Pittsburgh, like tank for Tua.
Yeah,
that was
no, but that's what I'm saying. Like, but I'm talking even outside of Dolphins fandom, right? Like everybody wanted Tua. Then he gets hurt. Joe Burrow explodes the way that he did that no one saw coming. I don't care who you are. Nobody saw that coming. So then that kind of changes things.
Round pick before that happened.
A lot of the people that are upset were probably fans of him until their team didn't get him. And it's, when you have so much college success and it doesn't translate immediately, people start questioning things, right? Especially when the team is doing as well as the Dolphins were, making people think, oh, maybe the Dolphins aren't that bad because nobody's criticizing Joe Burrow. Nobody's saying, oh, Joe Burrow needs to work on a bunch of different things. No, they're saying, the Bengals are terrible. But the Dolphins went 10-6.
I think people I feel like most people outside of Dolphins fandom only got to see that the Raiders game. That was the primetime game that everybody got to see.
No, and not only that, the only things that they hear
the
only things that they hear about Tua are whatever Colin Cowherd says or whatever's on First Take. And First Take is going to call him the greatest quarterback of all time after the Cardinals game. And then they're going to call him the worst quarterback and the biggest bust ever after the Denver game. That's just what it is. That's all they hear. And so that's all I know.
Jesus, it's getting worse. Like, look at these comments, man.
It's terrible.
Are you digging deeper into it?
Yeah, I'm digging deeper into it.
And my problem is like, and I guess this is, me kind of dealing with it like firsthand, I guess for the first time. I guess negative sells more or attracts more because my goodness, I mean, not if you don't want to look at that play, cool, don't look at that play. But he ran a little woggle with Shaheen where he legitimately looked off Jerome Baker.
Whoa, that guy.
You saw him
let's not talk about Shaheen.
Yeah. You saw Tua look off Jerome Baker, come right back to Shaheem, hit him for a touchdown, and you see Jerome Baker screaming in frustration because he got.
Really quick.
Nobody wants to cover that.
To put something out there too.
I don't know if somebody can pull up the clip.
It's just something to even mention the tank for Tua stuff. I just want to bring this up. This is the first article and video thing that I had done for FIU when I was kind of going through the back end of my like college stuff. This was during the 2019 season, so before COVID and everything like this. And the photographer that was with me, we noticed this person sitting here in the crowd, like in the tailgating section, and they had this stuff made. It's like just to show like the fandom. It's like this is what it was. He had tank for Tua, all this other stuff. He had signs, he had flags, he had banners. Like come on. This has been
everybody
split. Thing.
Everybody split one of two ways. Like it felt like you had to split one of two ways. Either you had to say he's going to be the greatest quarterback of all time, or you had to say that he's an absolute bust and the Dolphins need to move on.
Yeah, but I think we got to start looking at this a little bit differently. You know what it is? It could be jealousy.
Yeah.
Look at some of the fans that are making the comments. All right. Notice who they are. The Patriot. There's a dude in there. All right, talking about that Cam Wake is gonna wreck him. Come on, man. Like really?
Wait,
like they played each other already.
Who'd Cam Wake? Wait.
What Cam Newton.
Oh, I was like, Cam Wake got signed. I'm excited. Hold on.
Yeah.
I saw that. It said about all this to get wrecked by 100% Cam Newton.
Yeah,
like, dude.
Yeah, there's guys in here like. Well, the popular one seems to be pictures of ducks, right? But there's a guy, he's a bum. He might throw 30 picks. 30 picks. I like this guy. This guy deserves to be called out, okay? Like this is a great tweet, okay? This guy's name is River, and this one's for you, Michael. His name is Najee Season.
Oh, listen, don't hurt us like that, bro.
He's a Steelers fan.
Okay, he's a Steelers fan. Okay, so he wasn't on the bandwagon like I was, right? He probably didn't like him that much before. Okay,
and his tweet is simple. His tweet is simple. The tweet is just trash.
Oh, insightful.
I like how he's coming after our quarterback's arm strength when he's got.
I like the guy. I like
big old noodle bin.
Chad Flenderman just tweets out, "Eat shit, PFF."
That's a true fan right there. That's a guy I want to send some.
Like maybe we're falling. Hey, you know what? Maybe it's that our team is getting good. So now some of our rival fans are like snapping to attention, saying, "Yo, we gotta smack these guys down."
Something. They were bottom of the scrub just like us. Browns, Dolphins, Bengals, and then you start to slowly see them creep away from that pile. And it's like, no, you guys are gonna come back here to the dysfunction. Like,
don't forget the Chargers in that pile.
Yeah, for sure.
Gosh.
I forgot
the Chargers and Chargers fans.
Pile. Yeah.
As we approach an hour here, I do want to, and sorry to take this transition from you, Michael.
No, I was going to say we should actually talk about camp, but that's cool.
I think we talked about camp a good amount.
I don't think we talked at all about what actually happened, other than it being installs, bro.
and in Brian.
What else?
I wanted Alfredo's takeaway because he was there.
Yeah. What else can you tell us then from what
you shut up.
I want to hear about him.
I got a few things. Albert Wilson, like all the idiots that were predicting that Albert Wilson would be cut, like 2/3 of the 3 yards per carry podcast.
Wait, Alfredo, were you with me about Albert Wilson's
No, I was one of the idiots that thought that Albert Wilson.
My dog.
He's getting way too many reps to get cut. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we have, and this is kind of news. Will Fuller did leave practice early.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, it's nothing serious. He did leave under his own power, so it should be nothing serious.
And that is part of what I'll say. Right, I understand that Albert Wilson plays more of a slot position, but if Will Fuller goes down with an injury, which is very possible considering how often it's happened before, Devontae Parker goes down with an injury as well. Who do you want filling in those spots? Right, Preston Williams probably filling in a lot of Devontae stuff. And would you rather have Lynn Bowden or would you rather have Albert Wilson? And for myself, I trust Albert Wilson more in that position than I do Lynn Bowden.
Yeah, and he's a veteran presence. We know he can play, right? So, he's a steadying influence. I think, he's probably going to make the team. I think he's probably a lock. Devontae Parker started the camp on the PUP list, which is, not good.
If you're going to say someone's trash, bro, at least spell his name right.
Xavier. Is he a new addition? Did we just draft him?
It's actually Xavien's twin, right? To sign a new contract.
Is he the one who came in pouting? Is that what it was?
He was the one high-fiving Byron, right? It was a body double.
Yeah.
Give it a high-five Byron.
Yeah, but all this, like all the haters, I really care about like the national media folks and the local media folks that don't like him for whatever reason. But, the haters, man, just look under their bios and you can see where it's coming from, all right? It's a Jet fan or it's a Bills fan or
don't forget the Bears. Don't forget the Bears. They've been miserable forever.
Yeah, and of course the Chargers fans, the Herbert stands. Forget it. Like
I didn't even know they existed. Honestly, like the team moved and nobody showed up.
Evidently, they exist. But I will tell you this: Justin Herbert better not have a terrible season because Dolphin Twitter will wipe
already.
Chargers Twitter off the face of the earth.
It's locked.
The moment Herbert throws an interception, I'm tweeting about it.
Right.
No.
Right.
The single he throws three touchdowns, 1 interception. They lose the game. I'm going after them. Couldn't be me. My quarterback won the game. I don't care about stats.
Interesting.
The greatest moment will be if Justin Herbert gets benched this year at any moment.
Oh gosh.
That Dolphins Twitter will not shut up.
You want to know something? I don't have a problem with Justin Herbert. I hate him because of his fans.
We'll never talk about camp.
I was gonna say, can I just ask, because we kind of just glossed over the fact that 3 of our potentially top 5 wide receivers are already out, and this was kind of something I brought up months ago, how all these guys are individually injury prone.
No, you brought up.
Yeah, I for sure brought up.
I know. I think collectively the three of us have brought. Collectively the three of us have talked about it.
Yeah,
I'm taking all credit. I'm taking all credit.
Right
now I'm taking it. I'm just
gonna. You got
two
producers on this show. You got two producers on the show. You want to stay on the show?
Y'all can take.
You want to stay on the show? You want to stay on the show? Fuck out of here. Listen. Okay. Because we've definitely all said it, and I've definitely brought it up. Okay, remember when they drafted Jalen Phillips, and I said this team just does not care about injury histories because the entire wide receiver room is just a walking medical bill. But you thought it, right?
No, I'll be honest.
Yeah, check yourself.
The only thing that I thought was like that the Dolphins were under the impression that they would take turns having injuries. Like they would stagger each other. They'd be like, all right, Devontae, you could take 2 weeks off. And then, Fuller, you got the next 2 weeks off. But now all three guys are, not practicing.
If that's the plan, that's an awful plan.
But no, all jokes aside though, I think this time is probably the best time, if any, for this to happen. Just because now you're actually going to get to see guys like Robert Foster, Lynn Bowden Jr., Malcolm Perry, Albert Wilson. You see all these guys in those expanded roles that we kind of already anticipated, all of us here, are going to be needed sometime in the season. So I think it is in a way kind of like a silver lining that Devontae is on PUP, that Preston is on PUP. Fuller had his thing, whatever he had today, where he
Fuller's missing the first 4 games?
One.
Oh, it's just the first game? Okay.
Yeah, he's missing the Patriots game. So you kind of already see that, even starting week 1 with Fuller out, Waddle's going to be playing a lot. If Wilson sticks, he's going to be playing a lot. But, it's a concerning thing for me, for sure, because there's potential to have that week 17 Bills wide receiver depth chart if things don't get handled.
Can I just say that everybody's entitled to their own opinion? And I'm never but Wayne, listen, man, if that's the way you want to live the rest of this season,
Kai's over here smiling and cheesing because he was on that boat too.
On what boat?
Oh, he was on that boat too. He was heavy on the Herbert boat.
Wait.
He was heavy on the either was okay.
Yeah, don't try to fucking tarnish my name.
I'm giving Kai credit for being on the Herbert boat. Time out. Whoa.
Oh, okay. I thought you were giving me flack.
Herbert's not cool enough to have a boat. It's a bus. With Herbert, it's a bus. It's not a boat. Right? It's like one of those
very specific. Yeah. Again, I was fine with either or, and I stated many times before the draft on Twitter, on my own YouTube channel, everything, that the only issue I had with Tua was the injury, and then Tua came back from his injury. I had to schedule.
Kind of.
Alfredo.
Oh, you mentioned a couple of guys there. One guy I wouldn't, I would keep a close eye on is Alan Hearns. We talked about this a little bit earlier. I think we talked on the phone.
Yeah.
Like there's one guy that's a bona fide slot guy his entire career, and it's been a really good slot guy, a traditional slot guy, and it's Alan Hearns. Mm-hmm. So he has a chance to stick right there.
And
another guy that looked really good. Another guy that looked really good today. I know it's only day 1, but he looked big and fast. Robert Foster. This is a deep unit, so maybe we do get some surprises. But they're
played with Tua already too.
Mm-hmm. At Alabama,
yeah. And he's got NFL special teams experience.
Good special teams experience.
It's a different special teams than college, for sure. Mm-hmm. So I think
talk about Kittle 2.0 for me, please.
Yeah, Hunter Long. Look, everybody's been talking about him. Okay, and I talked about it on the podcast.
Love it.
I talked about it on the podcast today, and we, hey, look, this is our fault, but we thought that the Dolphins were okay with the 5,000 tight ends that they had on the roster, but we didn't talk enough about the tight end position, and we talked about Kyle Pitts because he kind of made sense. If we stayed at number 3, maybe we take Kyle Pitts, but we didn't talk about the other tight ends. Maybe we should have, because Scott Pioli's calling it already. He's calling his shot already. He's saying he's going to make multiple Pro Bowls. Mm-hmm. And I talked about this on the podcast today, and I talked about it on my notes, and I talked about it on Twitter. He's a noticeable athlete. If you didn't know anything about the Dolphin tight ends, and you just showed up to practice today, and they told you, hey, what do you think about this tight end group? You go, oh, that number 80, that's the starter, right? That's the way you would think. He looks different. He looks like a superior athlete. He's big, and his stride is good. It looks like he's going to be good for Yak because he has these choppy, twitchy steps. He runs good. You know what I mean? When you see a guy who's as big as he is, he doesn't plod. And when you look at Mike Gesicki, he glides like he has a gliding stride, which makes him not good in yak. Okay, that's why Mike Gesicki. By the way, does anybody on this show know how many tackles Mike Gesicki has broken since he came into the league?
I'm gonna go with 4.
Good guess. It's 3.
Oh, y'all just gotta throw out a number, guys. What are we doing?
I said 1.
I didn't have an idea.
But I don't know. It's you look at Hunter Long, he's gonna be good, man. Like, you could just tell. Sometimes you can tell.
What about
you can tell he's gonna be good.
What about Baby Thor, Jalen Phillips?
Well, Jalen Phillips, man, talk about another noticeable athlete. You see these guys play at the U, you don't watch them in person, and then when you see them on the field at field level, you realize, okay, this is why scouts, looked at him and said, okay, this could be like the next great pass rusher. You know what I mean? And one of the better pass rushers to come out in the last 10 years. You got to understand, this guy was a 5-star athlete and the number 1 recruit in the nation coming out of high school. Okay.
Didn't he just at Chip Kelly recently on his Instagram too?
Yeah. So he has some personality as well. All right. But if you watch him out there, you're like, okay, man, like, it's one of those guys, it's what's the term? The first guy off the bus theory. Okay. Like when you're going to go play at somebody's place and you say, okay, who do we want coming off the bus first? Well, obviously you want Raekwon Davis.
Jalen.
Yeah. You don't want Jalen Waddle because first of all, he walks
McKinney.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like that's a legit thing. Look, Omar Kelly was saying that he was limping. I think Omar Kelly was just confusing a guy who walks kind of funny. All right. Jalen Waddle walks funny.
I don't care how he walks. He's got a 97 speed in Madden. That's all I care about.
Somebody was saying, hey, somebody was joking with Omar today. Somebody was joking with Omar today at practice, and we're telling Omar, hey, is he limping? And Omar's because let's face it, Jalen Waddle was like blazing up and down the field all day, and you were like, wow, like this guy's like really, really fast. Like this is like I'm not used to watching things like this. You know what I mean? Not even Jakeem Grant is this fast.
Oh, yes.
Okay. And
yes.
And Omar's like, and Omar finally, I think he came off the ledge, and Omar said, you know what? He just walks funny, and it's true. He walks funny. He does. Like he has like this little gait that I don't know where he got it, but
and then
as soon as they snap the ball, he's fast, man.
And then just for Michael's sake, could you just break down how big Myles Gaskin is looking right now?
Yeah, he looks inflated. Like he's
just for Michael. Though.
Yeah, he's a bigger guy. Like
Michael.
Myles Gaskin is big.
No, that's great. No, that's awesome.
He's
yeah.
Big.
Yeah.
Big.
Yeah. Like he's beefed up. Like he's out of all the guys that are that noticeable, he's not a first guy off the bus guy. You know what I mean? Jalen Phillips is that guy.
Yeah. Well, was he the first guy in the building? Because that's
we could put him on top of Jalen Phillips' shoulders.
No, because listen. You act like I don't hate Myles Gaskin.
No,
okay.
No,
if Myles Gaskin does great, I'm gonna be excited and I'm gonna be happy to be wrong because then I don't have to worry about the running back room.
Yeah,
my issue is you're extrapolating stats from last season, being like, "Oh, if he does play all these games, look at it." First of all, projections in the NFL they don't work like that. It's different teams, it's different defenses, completely different game plans. So relax, okay? Listen, Le'Veon Bell would be a much better option, and if he doesn't work, you cut him. It doesn't matter. If Myles Gaskin is great, cool. But you remember those dropped passes?
Listen,
those fumbles?
Answer me. First in the door, bro.
Did you remember?
Space for Le'Veon,
Did you remember? Did you remember?
First in the door for camp, bro.
So we're shutting that out, right? Like when he dropped that first down pass?
100%.
And the fumbling after his only rush greater than 20 yards?
Listen, man.
No, I just know. What do we?
He was in his second year with no camp. What you want me to do?
Oh, okay. Second year with no camp. Okay. No, está bien. Listen, we will go back and forth on this all season. We'll have plenty of episodes to talk about Gaskin.
Yes.
The guy I want to know how thick he was is the guy in our top right corner, right? Now, I want to know, was Tua thick with a K or with a C, right? Because I feel like if it's a C, it's like, that's not the thick I want. I want thick with a K right now. That's what I'm looking for.
I saw another tweet today saying that Tua's built like Simone Biles, and he kind of is.
That he's built like who?
Like what's her name? The gym.
You said it right. Simone Biles.
That's her name, right? Bryles, right? I'm not saying her name.
Biles
or Bryles? I'm
Biles,
thinking about Bryles, the guy from Baylor. Like, no,
yeah, no,
I don't want to put that on her. Yeah, like Art Bryles is in hell, man. Like, no. But yeah, Simone Biles
said,
no.
Prayers up to Simone Biles, by the way, and her mental health. I just want to mention that it's a big thing. Hopefully she can get into the right place mentally, because you never want to be into that space. So just want to,
bro, who said that?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm shook. I'm straight shook, bro.
I don't know, but you know what? I think it could have been Sorty.
It
could have been Sorty. Okay, that guy's legendary. He has some misses though. Like yesterday, I think yesterday he had a miss. You know what I mean? But like today,
the 5-finger discount.
Yeah, that one. There was better jokes there, man.
Did he listen?
There was better jokes there.
The only team I care about missing is bro, spell Miles' name right.
Dude,
Wayne comes into our show to just trash the Dolphins. What we doing, bro?
Bro,
I mean, I appreciate the contrarian approach.
Oh no!
Sorry. Somehow I knew. Hey, and
funny,
hashtag free my dog Big E, bro. They got him locked up for Celine Dion.
For real.
Yeah, but he looks good, man. Tua looks nice and healthy. He doesn't look as small as he did last year to start camp, you know. And maybe, it has something to do with, he had a full year to rehab, a catastrophic injury,
Right. I mean, which would only make sense to most people, you'd think, but Twitter is what it is. Alfredo, thank you for coming on the show. I think
we have one last thing to discuss, I think. If you want to get into it, I was going to say. Well, I know you mentioned it. Like, it's in the kind of the show notes, like the vaccination stuff and how it's been happening with the NFL. Do we want to talk about it for a little bit?
We can talk about vaccine stuff. I'll let Alfredo go on it because that just upsets me. So I'll let you go because I don't have any rationale behind my thought process. I'm just upset. So Alfredo, please, rational thought on whatever the hell is happening with the vaccine situation and the teams.
Oh,
what statement today?
Yeah. Well, what do you want to? What do you want me to say? It's we're talking about vaccines, man. People have, they've talked themselves into a lather, really, on some of these things. Mm-hmm. I thought what Cole Beasley did today was certifiably insane, all right?
He read from his phone like he was like...
like he was delivering a statement, like he was running for office or something.
Like he wrote down his grocery list and he was reading it out to the Publix clerk.
Yep.
Like, look, you have choices, right? Nobody's putting a gun to his head and telling him to get the vaccine.
To look stupid, too, but... They're
telling you, look, if you take the vaccine... This, and this will happen. There's consequences, okay? It's private business. Private business can do that, all right? Where they can't do that is like people can't barge into your home and tell you, look, let me put these needles into your arm, okay? Yeah. They can't do that.
But Beasley's pro-choice, but not pro-consequences, apparently.
It's
TJ Ward last night in the middle of the night.
I didn't even follow that.
TJ Ward is a complete idiot.
What did he say? I saw the second tweet.
He essentially told Riverboat Ron, look, you got cancer, so retire. Like he basically told him.
He said your personal choices shouldn't affect my personal choices.
His personal choice wasn't to get cancer, man.
That's when I broke that down and I understood that, I closed it off. I was like, yeah, this guy.
That's what he said.
Yes,
something along those lines.
And he had a worse one. He had a worse one that he might have even deleted. He said maybe it's time for him to riverboat his way the hell out of the NFL.
Yeah.
Don't blame the players for your lifelong health decisions.
Whoa, dude.
Like really? Like it was my decision to get cancer?
Some people get hit in the head way too hard, bro.
That was
I felt bad for Ron Rivera.
Dropped as a baby in the head.
I do feel bad for Ron Rivera. Like that's listen, that's a legitimate
concern. TJ Ward signed to Washington?
No, he's
out of the league. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, but look, and Ron Rivera came out. He said that he was frustrated that his team is one of the few teams that are only around 55% vaccinated. Come on, man.
I wonder what their quarterback is doing.
Oh. Look, a lot of people, sometimes when people say these hyperbolic statements, it's complete bullshit. Nobody's really killing anybody by not getting a vaccine. In this case, his team could actually kill their head coach.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is one of those cases where
he's immune deficiency, right?
Yes.
He's immune deficient.
You get cancer. You get
he's on the list. That's the risk list, man. Like if he gets it, that's like an immediate hospitalization and immediately to the ICU. That's not like let's get, and not even the COVID. It's ICU COVID unit, right? Which is look. Here's my thing with all of this: is nobody's forcing these players to get the vaccine. Not a single person is forcing them to. And I'm saying, you giving advantages to teams that are getting the vaccine. Yes, I'm going to give the advantages to the teams that are trying to do it the safest and ensure that we don't have to stop, cancel, or postpone games.
I just have one question for you guys. You continue, go, Mike, afterwards.
No, I'm just like, it's frustrating to watch all these people complain about something that it's like, it's not about you right now. And Cole Beasley's statement today, at one point he spewed out some stupidity and he goes, well, it's common sense. If you test less, you're going to have less, positive cases. I'm like, you're stupid, bro. Stop. Don't hit me with that same stuff that this other idiot
in the game. Like his level of intelligence is already being questioned, in my opinion. I guess my only gripe with all this is that in the event that, let's say, we play Washington and Washington has an outbreak and that game gets canceled, neither Washington's players nor our players would get paid. And I don't really think I don't know if there's a better solution. So I'm not proposing this as like there's a better solution to it. I just don't feel like that's the answer.
What, canceling the game?
Canceling the game, yeah, but not playing both teams. Yeah,
the pay side of it, I can't speak to that. I mean, the NFL is going to do what they're going to do, but the whole, and he said, also, people still get COVID even though they have the vaccine. I don't think there's ever been a vaccine invented that's 100%. I don't think that's ever happened. That's literally impossible.
But you could get COVID and it's not going to give you any of the symptoms.
And exactly, it's not going to give you any of the symptoms. It's much less likely to put you in the hospital. And the chances of you transmitting it to someone else.
I think the coach for the Colts got it. And he's like, I'm just asymptomatic because of the vaccine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which is what because like we had talked about this in the group chat, right? On the Dolphins group chat. And Juan, you mentioned like, what if people have the vaccines and they still get COVID? The chances of there being an outbreak in a locker room that's 95% vaccinated are so low because, number one, they're going to find it. They're still going to send the player home, right? So that he doesn't spread it. They'll clean everything up. And for somebody else to catch it in that scenario is so low. At this point, look, to me, it's just getting vaccinated is just a responsible thing. I just don't think it makes any sense to not be. And that goes for anybody, NFL player, person living at home, right? Even if you're working from what, just do it, right? You'll probably save lives doing it. And this is the one time I can say do the right thing, which is saving lives literally.
Yeah, and science makes advancements. I'm pretty sure there was a time where getting vaccinated against meningitis, people were like, is that really necessary? And well, yeah, it's now necessary. Well, we've advanced enough that we kind of know these vaccines are probably necessary going forward. So
my favorite argument is, they had the polio vaccine and that stuff isn't even around. Well,
yeah, because we killed it with the vaccine.
Yeah.
We eventually want to get rid of this. Look, and a lot of good is coming from a lot of these things. Look, nobody likes wearing a fucking mask, okay? Mm-hmm. All right? I don't like wearing a mask. But guess what? We're having lower flu seasons, lower flu rates because people wore masks, right? So Which is
something that hopefully catches on, right? Like you're sick, put on the mask.
Every year. Look, I don't take I guess I'm gonna go anti-vax here. I don't take the flu shot because one time I took it.
I'm just kidding.
One time I took the flu shot and I thought I was gonna die. All right, because it can give you that. One of the side effects is that you could get the flu. You know what I mean?
Oh, really?
So I got the flu and I got it really, really, really bad. Okay. And I was like, I think I'm going to die here. So I don't take the flu shot, but I do take the COVID shot. But guess what? There's evidence to suggest that the people that take the flu, if you take the flu shot, it reduces the rate of the flu. Who would have thunk it? Yeah. You know what I mean? So look, man, I understand a lot of the arguments against it. Not in this case. All right. And especially Washington. That's embarrassing. That not only is it embarrassing, like that's one of the cases where, you are probably going to kill your coach, guys. Mm-hmm. Like, stop it.
Well, and it's like, it's not 100% effective. but you're telling me I have an above 90% chance to get it. That if I do get it, which is unlikely, I would likely live because of the vaccine. I'm not playing with that. Come on. Hey, are Dolphins going to beat the Buffalo Bills at least once this year? I'm going to say it twice because I'm going to say the Buffalo Bills' entire season gets canceled and the Dolphins win both games thanks to people like Cole Beasley and whoever the offensive lineman is.
Hughes and Cole Beasley were going back and forth on Twitter. Like at some point, I question. I'm like, are these guys not in the same locker room? Like are you guys not
hold on
like
a second.
across?
They might actually not be in the same locker room because they might start doing like a non-vaccinated people and vaccinated people over here because that locker room is going.
They might have a certain quarterback in that unvaccinated room.
Look, I love the NFL locker room, the dynamics of an NFL locker room because in there you have white, black, you have some Hispanics. Okay. But
the 10 of us that made it
doing it, bro.
You know what I mean? I think there's like 14 of us, man. So I hope we still have I think we have a couple of Jewish representatives as well. I think Jay Fielder and of course Samoans, man. Like Samoans are born to play football,
bro. Are taking over.
Young Waku.
Bro, especially when they play that quarterback position. Am I right? Am I right? That's what I'm talking about.
So you look at an NFL locker room and everything is in there. Okay, you have kooky right wingers, you have kooky left wingers, and they're all brothers. This is one of those cases where it doesn't seem that way. This is one of those cases where it seems like there's just one guy out there, Cole Beasley, who's just lost his freaking mind.
He feels like he's battling everybody's battle, and everybody's like, "Bro, shut up."
I just want to know what coalition of players came together to say, "Guys, we need a spokesperson." I nominate Cole Beasley.
That happened in his head. That happened in his head because he literally sits here and at least once or twice in one of his rants will say, "I am not the only player that feels this way. There are others like us. And we will not be stuck down," and all this stuff.
But hold on, I agree with him. There's a bunch of players that feel like him, and you want to know what? A lot of them are going to end up cut.
That and a lot of them aren't screaming it off the top of their chest.
Like, look, Cole Beasley. Like here's the thing. Cole Beasley is also being really, really selfish. Okay, if he's convincing anybody who's at the bottom of a roster to start pulling this, those guys are going to get cut. Cole Beasley's not going to get cut because Cole Beasley's like what? Where do you think he's a top 3, top 5 slot receiver? Maybe. He just finished having think about how hard it is what he just finished doing. Didn't he have like 90 catches and 1,000 yards on a team that has Stephon Diggs?
82 receptions, 967 yards, and 4 touchdowns and 15.
Good. He didn't reach 1,000 yards.
So he missed it. He missed it by 30 yards on a team that has Stephon Diggs. Man, I think that's pretty impressive.
They had Gabe Davis too stepping up. I mean, yeah.
So he's a good player. He's not going to get cut, but he's going to convince some idiot on the Detroit Lions to get cut.
You don't think he'll get cut?
He won't get cut
because Brandon Beane has been kind of adamant about the fact that vaccinations will play a part into.
Yeah, but you want to know something? If Cole Beasley gets cut, it won't be because he decided not to get vaccinated. It's because of the way he decided to not get vaccinated. It's this whole thing. You know how the NFL feels about outspoken players. You know how the NFL feels about outspoken players?
Think about it like this. Dolphins are creeping over 93% vaccination.
I'm so proud of them.
If they get to 99% and they cut Cole Beasley.
We can take Cole Beasley because we're all vaccinated.
Think about it.
I would hate Cole Beasley on this team after all of this. I really would.
Run us out of here after that.
Yeah, after that, listen, I'm going to tell you to smash that like button, but in the sake of because you hate Cole Beasley and no other reason, or because you like that Alfredo is on here. For me, Juan or Kai, it doesn't matter. We're unimportant. Go for Alfredo or hating Cole Beasley. Alfredo, thank you so much for joining the show, man. Really appreciate you being here. Me. Juan, you will be going to training camp soon, correct? When?
We're working on it, yeah. Probably next week. We're working on it, though.
Okay, and then there's also plans for you and Kai to go?
I was just about to say, me and Kai will be there. On
Tuesday.
Yeah, first day of pads, hopefully.
Nobody invited me, but that's cool.
I think I sent you.
I'm not inviting you
the virtual invite. I can send you a Zoom invite.
No. I'm not inviting you to Summer League because I'm gonna be at Summer League. I'm not inviting you.
I'll FaceTime.
No,
I'm going on my own, like as a fan, but I'm going.
We're going as fans too, but it's okay.
Yeah. You're not invited. Alfredo, you're invited if you want to go to Vegas. We can lose some money together, bro. That would be That'd be fantastic. Again, thank you so much for joining the show, Alfredo. Juan, you can follow him at Exclusivity, Kai at Samurai Radio, and myself at Michael5RSN. You guys have a good night. I'm going to play the video. I should banter until then. Banter? We're out.